our very first show as Lynam was at the arena. But before we had a name, he's like, well, what do you want to call this cover band or whatever? Yeah. And I said, you're terrible, and everybody knows you're terrible. I was like, let's call the band Lynam, because that's going to be hilarious to every band in town or whatever, that you've got a band named after you. Like, yeah. And he goes, no, dude, we're not going to call the band my last name.
Welcome, everybody, to the X5 podcast. We have our very special guest today that I know that we always are excited for our guests. You might recognize him from the band Mars Electric. You might recognize him from the band Lynam. You might also recognize him from the band Adler. You might also recognize him from Mick Mars' new record. I guess I could sit here all day and tell you all the stuff you might recognize him from. You might recognize him from Tarrant, Alabama, if you grew up in the slums of Tarrant, Alabama. Jacob Bunton is our guest today on the podcast. So
what's up, man?
Jacob. Thank you. Wow, that's the coolest introduction.
It could have gone on all night, but I was like, man, how many more things can I name about the guy?
I say that's the coolest introduction. The coolest introduction. That was the second coolest introduction, because me and this guy played in a band together forever. He's my best friend in the world. And Alan Hunter, the original VJ from MTV, we were doing a show, and he was introducing the show, and he didn't know who was playing. He just knew a band was playing. And he walks up to him and he goes, you guys are playing, right? And I was like, yeah. And he didn't ask the name of the band. And it was some charity event. And so he gets out there and he goes, hey, everybody, thank you for coming to this. This is great. We're raising money and stuff. And he goes, and then when it was time to introduce us, he goes, without further ado, here they are. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
The 3 Ps.
So, and I just remember that was the greatest introduction ever.
Yeah, that's badass, man.
Yeah, he's my tour bus roommate for the thing.
Jacob, what's new, man? I hadn't seen you in a while. Kept up, been keeping up with you through social media and stuff, as far as like, your new projects and different things, Neon Coven, and just some different stuff you got going on.
Yeah, Neon Coven was something that's it's not a real band. It's we call it our goth boy band.
It's cool though.
And it's fun. Yeah. We have a lot of fun, like, going in the studio, writing and
recording. Are y'all making fun of goth people? Is that
no.
Making fun of boy bands.
No, man. Dude, this shit, it's super cool. That whole vampire-esque.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing it. Like, my main passion, like, I got out of music a long time ago and opened a chain of tanning salons.
Oh, that's good. You're looking tan. You're looking good.
Yeah. So,
did you partner with Cam Fleener? You guys,
I would believe that out of Charlie. Remember that?
Yeah.
This guy gives me so much shit. The fat guy's got to do a little something to at least look good. He told me yesterday, so he calls me. He's all loopy. He's hiding it, but he had surgery yesterday. He took his sling off before the podcast. So he calls me. We're talking about some other guest. He goes, where are you at? And I was like, and I didn't want to fucking tell him, because you being in a band with this guy for so long, he gives you so much shit all the time, right? And I was like, I'm leaving Dr. Petro's off. Shout out Dr. Petro. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing down there? And I was like, well, man, I had to get my Botox today. He's like, dude, you're going. He said, Brotox.
I said, you're going about this all backwards. Let's start jogging first, and then we go down to the Botox.
No, he actually told me, he said, do some fucking sit-ups first. I was like, what an asshole.
God, what a friend.
Yeah, what a good friend.
That's how guys talk to each other, though.
You got to.
Yeah, guys are brutal with each other. I'm sure girls sit around and go, man, if I get in the crosshair of a guy that's like ripping on the other guys, and I just happen to be getting his line of sight, it's over, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, like that is the way the guys talk to each other, because like my wife will hear David now on the phone, and she'll be like, who are you talking to? It's like David or whatever, because literally, like, when we started Lynam, like, I grew up really poor. Like, when we started Lynam, once we started making cash and stuff like that, one of the first things David asked me, he goes, hey man, now that we've made a little bit of money, You gonna fix your teeth?
Fucking dick.
I remember saying that.
You did, and I was like, I swear to God, and I was like,
Look, this is stuck with him for all these years.
I was like,
Obviously, it's stung. I got him. I got him, guys. I got him.
I was like, what's wrong with my teeth? I was like, I've never had a cavity.
I've never had a girl say to me.
and like my teeth are strong and everything. He goes, no, they're just jacked up like the vampire things and stuff. And literally,
wow, what a fucking asshole. Man.
No, that's literally the way that we talk to each other though. But I do the same thing to him.
Yeah,
it's like so.
Oh yeah, I'll see it. He'll get a picture will float up of him online with a lazy eye, and I won't even say a word. I'll just send it to him, and I'll be like, you know, and I know
what the fuck I'm
I don't have
looking
to say anything. I'll be having a good day, buddy.
Oh yeah. Last time I saw you guys was in L.A.
Whiskey a Go-Go.
Yeah.
That was like
Ultimate
a second
jam.
home for us, was the Whiskey a Go-Go jam nights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's where I learned what your favorite band is.
Duran Duran.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought it was
that's
Vane.
cool.
He got up and did Duran Duran.
My favorite
jam night
band.
and just crushed it.
Yeah,
Vane.
isn't that one like an under like a?
I love Vane. Yeah, they've never been my favorite band, but I love Vane. Yeah,
Well, I'm glad he's here. I'm glad to find out who his fucking favorite band is after you do. I didn't spend enough time with him, obviously.
Only 17 years on the bus.
my favorite bands growing up were like I loved Motley Crue, I loved Guns N' Roses, Kiss, Poison, Def Leppard, like all that kind of stuff. But I also equally liked,
Pop
bands like Duran Duran and Depeche Mode and all of that. And it's like, and Duran Duran to this day, just one of my favorite bands in the world. I just saw them at Hollywood Bowl like a month ago.
Oh wow!
And
they sound just like the album too.
They do.
It's like headphones on.
I get made fun of all the time, Jacob, because like I'll be in the car and a Belinda Carlisle song would come on, or like Duran Duran or NXS, and my wife's just like, God, like you're such a dork. Like you like, I'm like, yeah, because it's good vibe music, I guess,
It is.
And escaping that as a kid, like for me, music is all about memories for a lot of people. And that shit just, that kind of music reminds me of that kind of good feeling. You know what I mean?
And you hit the nail on the head. Music is about memories because like the two strongest things are music and smell.
Yeah.
Those two things will take you back just to wherever you were in your life at that particular time. If you're walking down the street and all of a sudden you walk past, flowers that remind you of like your grandmother's house or whatever, it'll put you right back in that state of mind, in that place where when you were a kid at your grandmother's. That's the same thing about music, like what you said. So many people, you can't defend music. Either you get it or you don't. You could tell me that your favorite album in the world is Iron Maiden Killers, and David might listen to Iron Maiden Killers and be like, this sucks. And it's because maybe it's your favorite record because maybe you had an older brother and you guys would listen to that record all the time when it came out. So you have these great memories that David doesn't have that's attached to it. People tell me all the time what their favorite records are. I'll listen to them and it's just like, it's okay. And it's like, and I'll tell them what my favorite records are. They'll listen to it and be like, it's okay. But it's so much of it is exactly what you just said, the memories.
Like, not being, cheesy or blowing smoke. I was telling David this the other day because he was even surprised to hear that. But like, one of my top 3 favorite albums of all time is Slave to the Machine. I love that fucking
We always wonder
record.
why that's a bigger album to people than Tragic City Symphony. We always thought that was the better album. But.
So hearing him just talk about his influences, because I'm assuming you did most of the writing on that.
Yeah.
So, man, the choruses. So I was thinking about it again the other day after we talked. The choruses, that whole fucking record is like hooks and grabs you. And it takes you on a little bit of an emotional roller coaster, different vibes, but it's just so well written, but composed. So when it lifts you up and it holds you there, and it's so hooky, and it takes you back to, you can hear like some pop influences in there. You can hear the, 80s rock influences in there. And then Jacob's Jacob would rip a fucking solo over the goddamn Alphabet song.
We always said he would, if he didn't have a lyric, he would just put a whoa. Or, hey. I was like, well, there was Jacob not feeling like writing a lyric that day. That's what that is.
But with his solos, even too, they're so complimentary. Like this, not just diarrhea fingers the whole time. You know what I mean? Like you're not.
He
listening.
can do that too, man. I used to
come
be able,
see us live.
Yeah, like if we're playing live, no shit, and Bert walks in the building, and I don't see Bert.
Yeah,
I don't have to see Bert to know that Bert has walked into the building because I can tell by the way he plays. He just starts doing these arpeggio sweeps, and I'm like, oh, where is he? Because I know the cocksucker's in here somewhere. Where is he? Where is he? And I look, and in the back corner of the room, I've spotted him. Always, it's such an easy tell.
No, man, it's
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, dude, that's such a, and like I said, Halfway to Hell, that was a great record too. Yeah. Some good songs on that record. Was that y'all's last?
No, we put up
Blink. What was our last?
Your last line of record?
Girl with the girl on the cover of it.
Bombshell.
Yeah.
Okay.
We recorded a record in 2020, and we said we would release it, and we never told anybody that we were doing it, but we did it, and for whatever reason we just didn't release it. I guess it's one of those things. It's like so many people now are just releasing singles instead of records because it's hard to hold people's attention span for 10, 11, 12 songs.
You're the second person that said that in the last 2 weeks. So we were just having that conversation with Brett Carlisle, and that's the truth. Like it's changed so much, dude. Like even the last 10 years, it's like nobody even really goes in and bangs out a full album anymore, almost. Or if they do, they release it over like 2 years.
Right.
Or whatever. And I get it though. But you're right.
There's no real need to wait to do it unless you're doing some kind of concept. But
it's the way that people's attention spans are and the way that people consume music now is completely different. It's like studies have shown that, kids, when they're listening to Spotify, they really only listen to half a song, or Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. They listen to half a song because they're already thinking about what they want to listen to next, and they're already typing that.
Yeah, I noticed that. Our crew guys are like that, man. They're like, I can't wait to listen to the song, and they'll play it, and then about 40 seconds, they jump to the next one. I was like, I thought you were wanting to hear that song. He was like, but I also want to listen to this song, and this song, and this song. And I was like,
well, that song reminds you of a different song, and so on and so forth, right? So it's like, but it's changed so much like that. Like, how is that like, for you? Cause man, you got your hands in so much different stuff. It's, super cool, but, I know you're doing a lot of writing, producing some different things. Like, how does that transform? Like, I guess, how does that go over like in a, like for a show? Like, so is it kind of like the Rope and Dope? Like you release that one single or two or whatever at a time. People come to see that, and I guess you slip in the rest of the albums to get them hooked. Or you like how does that work now? Like I have no idea.
You usually have enough songs for a set. A lot of bands will have 8 or 10 songs. Start playing, and you have that one single that you put out on the platforms, and it's even the bands and artists and pop stars and people that I write for, it's based on, it's no longer like we need to come up with the sound of the album. Like what's the sound of this record going to be? It's like, that's obsolete now. It's like, just make the best, catchiest, hookiest song that you can to release for the next single. And then you do several of those, and then like what David just said, after you release 4 or 5 singles, then maybe the record comes out.
When are you going to do a bluegrass album, man?
Did one years and years ago.
Well, I mean, another one.
Another one? That's a good question.
Do you even spend much time on bluegrass anymore?
I love bluegrass. I still
ever
listen to it.
Have you guys ever seen this son of a gun pick a freaking mandolin or a banjo or a fiddle?
The video I seen.
Oh, everybody's seen that. The one on Birmingham Night.
Oh, We watched that like a month ago.
Oh yeah,
That was I was like, what?
I know it was like halfway between parody and like, hey, that's some damn.
Yeah, but I
right
didn't
there,
know that picking up. I was like, wow, that's impressive. It was really impressive to me.
Y'all got to please tell that story. That dude's face was priceless on that video.
Can you pull that up?
Yeah,
while we're talking about it, Dustin, pull that up on the TV. At Birmingham Nights and Lynam. I think if you search that, it should pull it up.
Oh my God!
we got asked to come on a talk show. We really didn't know anything about it.
Right.
They saw us at a club, like we were doing our thing, not the bluegrass thing. We were doing our thing.
That makes it even better.
So I have this weird sense of humor where it's kind of like Andy Kaufman, like where like I'm the only one that thinks it's funny, and my guys would share that with me sometimes. And we got asked to go on this talk show, so I was like, hey guys, let's because Mark had just gotten an upright bass and learned some bluegrass songs, and I love bluegrass. And then we got Barry Waldrop from Rolling in the Hay.
It's on YouTube, by the way. Go ahead.
A buddy of ours, Dallas Taylor, that was in a band called Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. And then Mark Lindsay from the radio station put on that wrestling mask.
Yeah.
And we went to Party City and got a hula hoop and had Dallas wear some Daisy Duke, short shorts. And we went on the show, and they were like, and here they are, Lynam. They just released a CD, and they were thinking we were like in the style of like AC/DC and stuff like that. And we show up with the acoustic instruments, and we play all bluegrass, and just confused everybody. But it was fine.
They were uncomfortable. They tried to go to the phones. As you do, like when you're running a literal live show, you're like, things are collapsing in the studio. We've got to go to a different direction. Yeah. And they don't have any material. Like they didn't come up with much research or anything. So they think they're safe to go to the phones and talk to the public. Well, we had all of our friends lined up there too, like waiting on hold going, I hope they do go to the phones because it's about to really get hot on this show. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't think that part is on YouTube, but they went to the phones to try and get out of the uncomfortableness that we had going on in the studio.
It was even more uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh. They just like, phones. You can tell from their vibe while they're talking that they were like, we got done. She was like, what was that?
Well, she left. You could see. So
what was that?
When you guys I was like,
started. How about this? It's the best ratings you've ever had. This show's been on TV. You're welcome.
They were really sweet people though. Like afterwards, the next day, like her feelings were really hurt. She called me the next day, and and I actually felt bad because like her feelings were really hurt. She felt like we had sabotaged their show, and it wasn't us trying to sabotage anything. It was just us just being us, having fun.
Having a good time.
The whole thing with Lynam, like from the very beginning, every interview you read with us is completely different answers. It's like what you were saying earlier about asking the same questions over and over. Sometimes I owned a chain of tanning tanning salons. Some days I was an ophthalmologist. Some days he was a male stripper. Some day everything was always just, we would just go with it and make up stuff on the spot, and that's how we had fun.
I remember I don't know. I was in Huntsville at the time, living there, doing I was never exposed to I just played acoustic shows and shit forever, and then wasn't exposed to full band stuff till we put my band together, and we started going to the old Vulgar Bowl just to kind of come. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I somebody, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Bradley Moore. It was like, hey man, let's go see my buddy's band Lynam. I was like, all right, fuck it, cool. I was absolutely blown away. I was like, holy shit, these guys are the real deal. And so that next week, I'm sitting here, so MySpace was still a thing back then,
Oh yeah.
And the old dirty mirror selfies, but I was reading your bio on MySpace, and it was the funniest shit I'd ever read before, talking about how you guys were you're all brothers. And your dad was Ronnie James Dio, and your mom was Stevie Nicks.
So here's the thing about that. When you read it, you obviously knew it was a joke, right?
Yeah.
Like you're reading it and you're laughing out loud because it's just so ludicrous. Talking about how when Ronnie James Dio took Ozzy's place in Black Sabbath when the Heaven and Hell record came out from Black Sabbath in 1980, that Black Sabbath and Fleetwood Mac did a tour together, which first of all is ludicrous right there. And Stevie Nicks and Ronnie James Dio fell in love and then had the three of us, 3 kids over 3 years. It's like it was obviously a joke that anybody could tell that was a joke, except people didn't know that was a joke. So it blew up in our face. This promoter in Maine booked us at this festival. And we get to this festival, and some dude like comes up like after I'm like leaving catering, and some dude comes up to us. Oh, God, and he goes, "Hey guys," and it was just me and David. I think Mark was still in catering, and I was like, "Hey," and he goes, "Man, I just want to tell you, I'm a huge fan of your mom." And we're puzzled. Like I'm like thinking my mom.
I was like, hey, real cute.
Yeah,
real cute.
Hey, step it back harder.
Yeah, got to be wittier than that, though. My mom.
I'm like my mom, and he goes, man, I'm such a Stevie Nicks fan. And me and David started laughing, and I was like, dude, that's a joke or whatever. And the guy, and then the guy walks off and tells and like walks over to the promoter because we're backstage, like we're catering. Walks over to the promoter. The promoter runs over and he goes, "You guys cannot tell anybody that's a joke." And we're like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "We've been running ads for the past 2 months since we've announced you guys on the radio. Come see Stevie Nicks' kids play this festival." So people bought tickets showing up to see you guys because Stevie Nicks is your mom.
Jeez, look, check this out.
Oh, Birmingham Nights.
Guys, you got to pull me out of this. I'm way over my head. I know a little bit about music and nothing about NASCAR. Tell them about our band because they are great.
This is Lynam, who has actually just recorded a video. And if you guys take it away.
Just a video, we just recorded a video.
Look at their face immediately.
Look at our hair. Look at how we're dressed playing this music.
Darling, it's true. I'm still in love with you.
You already know the song.
Yeah, dude.
Just can't escape your sweet memory.
Dave, look at David's hair back there, killing it.
I'm finding out what hurt is all about. Ever since you walked away from me, my jealous heart lies away.
Got the harmonies nailed, by the way.
Is that Barry singing the harmony on that?
You're not here next to me.
I hit myself in the space with a stick right there. Right when they zoom up on me.
Say your last goodbye. Leave me here alone with my jealous life.
What the fuck is that sitting over beside you?
The guy in the
wrestling mask?
luchador mask, the guy from the radio station they were talking about. He's headbanging.
They get a close up of Dallas. Hold on, tell me they get Dallas
at the end. I remember this.
Look at him.
Take it away, man.
There he is.
So you guys, the next song you guys do is "Rolling My Sweet Baby's Arms," and he's hula hooping, or maybe it's in this one.
I think it's the end of this song.
Is
he's
it?
hula hooping.
Oh my god, dude, that's the funniest shit ever.
Pockets.
His pockets are lower than his jean shorts. You see that?
And the birds, they won't sing. Since you went away and left me.
You look like Goat Boy there.
No matter what I say, you'll never be with me another day. My jealous heart.
This poker face. Do you see that poker? Nobody's laughing. Like, nobody. We are in character. That's how you sabotage the show.
So are you watching them out of your peripherals at the desk?
Every camera has a red light on it, so we know which one's hot. Barry never shows his face the whole time. He didn't want to be associated with this shit. He only did it because he was friends with us.
Could you imagine the control room right there? They got to be losing it.
That place was never the same. Never the same again.
Now we cut to the host voices. What are y'all? They're like,
yeah. Well, he goes, well, that's not one of your songs. You remember that?
Yeah. We just recorded.
And the funny thing is it was one of our songs.
Yeah. So yeah, we busted out "Rolling My Sweet Baby's Arms" one night at Tipsy T's. So we booked a show down there Easter weekend, which was just
dude, it's like you didn't know anything about booking.
So, hey, newsflash.
We just want to play to the bar staff. That's okay. We don't mind.
We actually had a good night that night, but Jay, what was his name? Jay Beard.
Yeah,
remember
Beard,
him?
Yeah.
He called. He's like, dude, so and so cancel. I don't remember what happened. He's like, can you guys play? I'm like, dude, nobody wants to play that Easter weekend, you know. And
dude,
we actually had
canceled.
Yeah, probably. So we went in there and played that show and had a good time. We busted that song out though, because at the time, Brandon, our bass player, or whatever, he's a bluegrass musician, and so he, plays banjo and everything. So he was like, "Oh, let's do that little." So we done that like as a cut song or whatever, but. Tip of the hat to you guys, I guess.
We first started this band. We used to double book all the time, and we would just keep both shows.
Really?
Just play them. We'd split the band up. Yeah. We got busted doing it once. I think we've told this story probably 800 times. But with it, remember where Half Shells was on South Side, and Half Shells and the Arena were right across the street from each other. We double booked those rooms right across the street from each other. So we were like, man, you think we can get away with playing both? We were like, what? When it first got brought up to the table, we were like, what? Yeah, we're going to send one guy, because we had Dee Dee singing for us back in the day. Mm-hmm. We'd send him across break. Yeah, to play on our breaks, and we would just run across the street and play 45 minutes, take a break, come over here, play for 30, come back over there, play for 30, play 45. We were literally running across the street going, hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. And one song from the end, we got caught by one of the club owner likes to walk the street, see what's going on up and down, and see what all the other clubs are doing. He just passed us in the window, and we're all on stage playing. He's like, but I have them booked at my club, and I know I just saw them.
Yeah, David booked us at Half Shells. I booked us.
Don't blame this on me. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and and then when we talked to each other later that night, I was like, "Hey, man, I booked us a show at the Arena." So, oh, great! I booked us a show at Half Shells, and then it ended up being the same night when we compared, notes. And David was like, "Well, shit, which one should we cancel?" I'm like, "You've got 2 drum kits. I've got 2 guitar rigs. Brian's got 2 bass rigs. Let's just play both of them."
Why not?
And
that's awesome.
So Dee Dee, he wasn't in the band yet. He was in a band that David had put together called the Bedbugs. Because Lynam wasn't supposed to be a real band.
Really?
His thing was the Bedbugs. They had been rehearsing for 6 months. They had, come up with this whole thing, and that was going to be it. And so Lynam was just a joke. When we started the band, he was the worst drummer I'd ever played with in my life. He wasn't actually a drummer. He was a mascot, and he was.
I really would. We'd record the album. I'd be crying when I left the studio. I would be in tears.
You're like, hey man, can you get us a juice box and we'll let this guy.
He was known around town as the guy that would show up to all the shows, US Pygmies, anybody that would play, and he'd be like, "Oh, let me play a song," and he'd get up on stage and just
shit the bed.
Yeah, it'd be the worst thing ever. And
hey guys,
Jacob, tell us how you really feel about it.
Yeah, but the thing is I had just come out of Mars Electric, and Mars Electric was a great band, but we didn't get along, so it wasn't. We just didn't. And I met David. He was actually working the door at Billy's when US was playing. Billy's being a club in Mountain Brook, Alabama. And he was like, he told me about a gig that he had at Brothers in Jacksonville. And he goes, man, I need a singer. Bedbugs isn't ready yet, but it's me and Chris Giovanelli and Josh Moore.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, and he goes, we just need a singer for the night. And I was like, all right. So I showed up and we played, and you know, it was fun. And I was like, well, let's you know, do another show of covers. This is cool. This is easy money. And I said, I know a bass player named Brian that's awesome. And David's like, well, who's going to play guitar? I'm like, I play guitar. He didn't know I played guitar at this point.
Right.
I didn't know anything about him. I just saw this weird dude around town.
Yeah. Yeah. And
like, my dad wouldn't, if he was alive, would never let me hang out with that guy.
Never.
So I'll join a band with him for 20 years. That's what I'll do.
So our very first show as Lynam was at the arena. But before we had a name, he's like, well, what do you want to call it, this cover band or whatever? Yeah. And I said, you're terrible, and everybody knows you're terrible. I was like, let's call the band Lynam, because that's going to be hilarious to every band in town or whatever, that you've got a band named after you. Like. And he goes, no, dude, we're not going to call the band my last name. And we literally, we were at his house. We went upstairs and took one of his mom's bed sheets and wrote Lynam really big as our backdrop. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. And then we would hang it up everywhere that we played. We'd have everybody sign it. But that was the joke. People would ride by and see on the sign Lynam. So it's like people like Sandy that ran sound for Four on the Floor. It was like they just couldn't wrap their head around how this guy has a band named after him. And so we played that show at the arena, and keep in mind, we never did a rehearsal. And David was really nervous. He was like, well, what are we going to play? And I was like, we'll figure it out when we get up on stage. Yeah. He had never met Brian before. I think you guys met the day of the show. Brian's loading in his bass rig, David's loading in his drums, and up until showtime, David's still nervous, and he's like, what are we going to play? And I'm like, David, you're a big music fan. You've heard songs on the radio always. I was like, you're a drummer. There's only 2 beats. Yeah. You know? That's what he thinks about drummers. And he's like, what are we going to play? And I walk up to the mic, and I'm like, hey, everybody, what do you want to hear? And somebody yelled out, Metallica. So I started Enter Sandman. He came in. We did the whole night like that. We did, you know, Enter Sandman and the Man in the Box and, you know, just whatever anybody wanted to hear. And we had so much fun. We played 4 hours straight, no break. And that was our thing for the first 2 years as a band. Yeah. We never took a break, ever. Yeah. Played straight through 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever we were doing. And
$300 a night, too. We were happy as shit.
Killing
we were so $100 a man.
And after we played that arena show, they asked us back. David booked us at Half Shells. The guy that booked the club across the street from the arena was a place called The Mill. Yeah. That guy booked us. And then a guy named Steve Dobrinsky that owned a restaurant called Buffalo saw us play. Next thing you know, we're playing every night of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And we were a $300 a night band. But once we got to the point where all of the dates were booked, it's like, well, let's see if we can charge more if people want us. And so then the guarantee just went up and up and up and up. And the next thing you know, we're all making like a real living, like doing this. And it's like, well, it looks like we're doing this full time now. I don't want to just do the cover band thing. Let's record a record and try to get something going on. And and that's how we started the band.
That's crazy, man.
It was a joke.
So what happened to the other guys? They were just like, what the fuck? They're never going to show up?
Yeah, I mean, were you talking about the other guys in
the bed bugs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, Diddy's still trucking. He's okay. He's still, and Gio still plays all over town, man.
Oh, those were the guys that was in bed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. It was some stupid theme I have where everybody dresses up in like nightgowns and stupid shit. Like, I mean, like I was a rookie in the game. I didn't know anything.
He's like,
let's not critique me too hard. I was the town's worst drummer.
You imagine that
I think
meeting?
You've already got that.
Can you imagine that meeting? Guys, look, this is what we're going to do. Okay. we're going to wear nightgowns.
I got 3 other guys to paddle the boat with me too. They were on board with
and they practiced for like 6 months. And didn't play a gig. It's like because they were
Took
like
it serious.
They were like,
never played a gig.
They were like, you know, really rehearsing it up. That's why when we started Lynam, it's like, and he had never even met the bass player until the night of the show.
Yeah,
it's like.
That was so foreign to me. I was like, "This is not how you do shit."
And obviously, like honestly, I was kind of a snob when it comes to cover band things because I'd always been in original bands, and there was no way in hell that I was going to go rehearse covers. It's like everybody get the CD or everybody download the file, whatever. Listen to it, learn your part. Why in the world would you rehearse it? Just learn your part note for note, and. You know,
I gave him a few reasons why we should have. He realized real quick at the arena. Oh, I see why he's a fan of doing that.
Well, so coming out of Mars Electric though, like you guys were a major label band, like
he was burnt out on it when I met him.
Yeah,
he was like,
well,
I need a break from that shit.
That day and age, I can imagine like the
money they spent on recording that album. Like
for no, like even now, like the money it took back then, you know, you got the labels and this and that, which some labels, not all labels, though, some are good, I'm sure, but like back in the 90s and shit, dude, like it was still from kind of carry over from the 80s. Like people would go in and spend $500,000 or $1 million on a fucking album, and they're in debt to the record companies forever. They're like, well, you got to give us 6 albums or 5 albums, and you got people like still living in their car.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That are selling records.
But their shit's on the radio.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense. And like, I guess that's probably the positive I see now though, is like, honestly, dude, you can skip so much of that. I think like people are like home recording software, all this stuff, and like the outlets with different social medias, different streaming services, different things. Like it's kind of taking that some out of the equation, I guess. Is that what you're seeing?
I'm definitely seeing that, but what I'm seeing is like, so back when record companies were like, when all the bands just wanted a record deal, that was, you know,
that was the goal.
Pre-streaming era and everything else. It's like when that was the goal, the record labels were gatekeepers.
Yeah.
So it's like, one out of very few people got record deals. People worked their whole lives trying to get them, and just very few people actually got them. Then if you did get a record deal, after that, like if you actually charted a single or you know, became a success, that's even a smaller percentage. But in some ways, you know, I'll catch a lot of flack for saying this, but in some ways the gatekeepers were a good thing, because now, like what you just said, anybody with the MacBook Pro can sit in their bedroom and record something and put it on Spotify or Apple Music the next day. And it's like there's so much out there, and there's so much that it's just, you know, kind of
shit.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of noise. It's hard to find the good part.
I get that. I can see that, man. I can see that.
There's a whole lot of noise. And it's like, you know, so in some way those gatekeepers were good because, like, I don't know. Like I was talking with somebody the other day, even the shitty bands back then that I didn't like or whatever, when I listened to them, they were good. Like maybe I didn't care for their songs, but even the bands that I thought were really shitty, like compared to a lot of the stuff that I hear today and now and stuff like that, they weren't shitty at all. They just weren't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Well, the level was so high. The bar was set so much higher then. Now it's just kind of level. Everything's just
you also
the
have
same.
Producers.
Yeah.
Like to come in and do, you know, that drives me crazy now. People that'll record, I produced this, you know. Well, I produced a turd last night.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think you did produce a turd last night. Dude, like I think you said it, man, like everybody wanted that deal, that record deal. And I think there was some kind of, I think that drive's lost. It's just been lost. Like you would just sit and dream. I remember just being a kid dreaming of that. Like I want to be on the radio one day.
I mean, we were guilty of it too. We wanted
for sure
a deal.
You know, and
we got passed around from label to label.
But it's cool though. Still,
we had
like
many record deals. We were really lucky.
Yeah, dude. Well, lucky, but it was. You're always your own, I guess, worst critic. If I was sitting here and I had all these albums and shit like you guys did, but dude, it was. You have to understand, like right now, there's people that would fucking die to see a Lynam show, or to see or hear a new Lynam song. Like I'm not shitting you, and it's like. Me being one of them, actually.
Well, they have laryngitis. Or actually, he says he hears from people all the time.
Dude. I mean, I'm for real.
Constantly.
I must look different. I must look like a struck match now. Nobody ever comes up and goes, hey, you in Lynam? Actually, I am Lynam.
You look like David Lynam if he drowned but still lived somehow. I'm fucking
that stuff always blew our mind, and it was never lost on us, because it's like we do realize that, because people have come up and told us, I met my wife at your show, or I met my husband at your show, and now we have 2 kids, and these 2 humans wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you guys. If we wouldn't have gone to your show, and we would have never met. And we've had people come up to us that said that they had, thought about suicide and all kinds of stuff, and a particular song got them through. We have people that have come up to us that say that, this song right here was our wedding song or whatever. Right. It's like, so all that kind of stuff blows our mind. And then people started getting Lynam tattoos. So his last name is on a lot of people. And it's not just 1 or 2 people that got tattoos. I mean, a lot of people got tattoos. And this,
I always reacted like, they want, when they show up to you, they want you to be like, oh, wow, that's awesome. But I'm always very concerned. I'm like, oh, those don't come off. You didn't really want to do that, did you? Oh, no, you did not. And they'd look at him and like, yes, this is like for you. I always had the opposite reaction they were looking for, but it's only because I'm self-deprecating, for starters. We all are.
Yeah.
And like, here was our big thing. We always thought we would be bigger than we were. Mm-hmm. We always thought world domination.
Yeah.
So when we would come back home and we were a big deal at home, we were like, we're only getting a taste of where we want to be, though. And people were like, but the career y'all have had, we played our whole life in this town trying to get to where y'all were. It's like huge. So it's really a relative thing. When people say you've made it and you feel like you've made it, it's just relative what you think of making it is.
I'll tell you.
That's the truth.
I'm not going to name the bands or whatever because they were great. Mm-hmm. But I seen you guys open for one night for 2 national acts. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not shitting you guys. Like, absolutely, I would have not wanted to be in their band, like, to follow you guys.
That was our favorite thing to do.
Y'all,
like fan snatching. When we go open up for somebody, we're like, here's where we get a lot of their audience.
That's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, man, it's got to be.
It was, and we would see it in merch sales every night and everything. The line would just be crazy. People just wanting to come buy a CD or shirt or whatever, and just say hello. And we never took that for granted. Like we always appreciated every single person that came and did that. And at one point, we were able to get such a great deal on T-shirts and CDs. Like we paid. At one point, we paid 70 cents per CD for the CDs. And then we actually got shirts for $1.75. That's what we paid for our shirts, front and back print on them. So
you can't wash them, but they were shirts.
They're not like Lynam tattoos.
They go away quick.
It just dissolve. But that was always something that mattered to me. Is for instance, if you buy a 20-year-old Slipknot shirt,
that's right.
It was printed on American Apparel, so it still looks brand new. It still feels brand new. It doesn't shrink. It doesn't feel good. It does But if you buy those, the reason that people spend all that money on eBay for those original 80 shirts and everything else, because they're faded, they fit tight, they're just freaking awesome. So I figured out if you get these shirts from Mexico that are like really, really cheap, that like people quote unquote they fall apart. They don't actually fall apart. Yeah. They just fit like those Springford 80 shirts that Metallica and Motley Crue and everything, Dokken and everybody used back then, just the brand. So we got those shirts really, really cheap. We paid $1.75, you know, including the print and everything.
Right.
We ordered them. So we got to the point where when I grew up really, really poor. If I could actually go to a concert, we could never afford to buy like one of the T-shirts or whatever. So when we were on stage every night, we would tell everybody, as soon as we're done playing, we're going to be at the merch booth. Come say hey, regardless if you buy anything. But it's pay what you want. Pay whatever you can.
That's
if
cool,
you've got
man.
a dime,
I remember that.
or if you've got $5, or if you've got whatever. And so people would come to the merch table. Sometimes kids would only have $1. We'd sell them a CD. We only paid 70 cents for it.
Yeah.
Like, we're still making a profit.
Yeah.
But also when we did the pay whatever you want thing, people that did have money would come up and they'd be like, they'd give us $50 for a CD or $20 for a CD, or
because they assumed everybody, a lot of people were getting it for free.
Yeah. So we ended up doing better than we ever had, and we were helping people out and making it to where these kids could, not just kids, just people could afford, you know, a T-shirt or whatever. And it's like, and no matter what, we were fine because of what we were paying for them. But
well, and I'm sure you guys get it, and you know, everybody here, except, by the way, Jeff, he's my brother-in-law. He's standing for St. Germain today.
I'm the only.
I mean, why don't you wait till an hour into the show?
Non-musician just sitting down.
This random guy over here.
I'm sorry.
That's our fearless leader over here.
But, yeah, my bad. So it's something that I think gets overlooked, is just how much, me and David was talking about this, I think, with the Pygmies, maybe.
Yeah.
About how much power, and you don't even know it sometimes, that whoever's on that stage and they're entertained and they're hearing one of their favorite songs, or they're turned on to a new song that you guys do, the energy you put on stage, how much that means to some people. And it changes their whole complete, you know, train of thought. And, you know, like, that's such a powerful thing. But then to do something like that, what you're saying about pay anything, like, I grew up poor as shit too. And so people that scrape up enough money to go see a show, to go have a good time, forget their 40-hour, 50-hour, 60-hour work week, and go have a good time and spend it with you guys, like, dude, that's
the CEO
super cool.
of CD Baby is the one that gave us that idea.
Really?
the former CEO, his name was Derek Shivers.
He told us that, and we're like, what?
Yeah, he sent.
He goes, "You're going to do way more money."
He's a smart
guy. He sent an email and said to try it, and I was like, "Okay, we're down." Because at this point, we owned most of our masters.
That's good.
So we could print up CDs and stuff like that, and
cool.
So it ended up working out. It's crazy because back to what he was saying about making it, it's all perception, like what you believe is making it, because we did always see ourselves as, we wanted to be Nickelback, we wanted to be Motley Crue, we wanted to be, we wanted to be this big arena band. And the thing is we got to go play massive places. We got to go play amphitheaters, arenas, and all that stuff, always as support, which was cool. And everybody else was looking at like, man, I saw you guys open up for Godsmack or Poison or just whatever, man. You guys made it. You guys are huge. And our whole thing was like, but we're not headlining or whatever.
They handed us $300 for that gig. We're just support. We want to headline that.
Yeah. But the funniest thing was like we were like huge in the South, and but everywhere else it's like, like we weren't like where we wanted to be, Tell
them about some of our in-store signings we did.
Oh God! So if you went to our website, so our website, like all of our tour dates and everything, like we always were good about keeping our tour dates up to date,
right?
And we were so busy, always 5, 6, 7 nights a week, and it would say like BJCC Arena, because we'd be, Godsmack on the 12th, on the 13th, Buffalo Wild Wings,
and we really would. The next night we'd be at a wing joint.
Yeah.
We were throwing beer bottles. We're like, it's a lot different than last night.
And so, and there were a few times people were like, what's up with your schedule? Because you guys are playing arenas and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, because well, we're playing, this festival over here with Theory of a Dead Man. Then we're going and playing all these theaters with Hinder. And then we come back home for 3 days and we're playing Buffaloes and, and
Cafe Forenza.
And Cafe Forenza. And then we go play BJCC with Godsmack, and then we go to Big Time Wings, like in Clanton or something like that. So it's like, we just played every single night, like whatever we could do. So our schedule looked crazy like that. But
we would show up on tour sometimes at a music store, and they'd set up
the end stores.
Yeah, the end stores. They'd set up like a CD signing for us in like Tacoma, Washington, total other side of the country. And we were like, this is going to be exciting. We're going to go to an in store this far away, and people are going to come up and want us to sign CDs. And we get there, first red flag, the store didn't even have our CDs in stock. So we had to go pull some from the bus and like somehow log them into the store where people could buy them. Anyway, we sat inside the store with a stack of CDs at a table, and they make an announcement in the store that maybe has 4 people in it. Like it's a big music store back when they had those, but they make an announcement. There's a live CD signing going on in the middle of the store with the band Lynam. Feel free to come buy your CD and have it signed by the band. And we're just sitting there, and they're just playing that elevator music, and we're just sitting at the table. It's the most humiliating thing. We were laughing so hard, and like it's funny to us
because the record company Universal set up these record store signings for us. Like they set them up,
right? So we had to go leave the venue after sound check to go do them.
So do they even promote it?
So my favorite one ever was in Best Buy, and it was in Salt Lake City, Utah. This one was amazing because we get there, and not only do they have our CD, they have tons of CDs and the whole end cap display, posters, everything. And there's a table where they have about 100 CDs like set up.
Yeah,
we're behind them. You can barely see.
And I mean, there's so many CDs. And so we show up to do this and everything, and I'm like going, okay, our product's in the store. This is cool. Right. Our songs played on the radio here. This is going to be great. And the store manager lays out the Sharpies and stuff, and he goes, all right, guys, just go sit at the table, and I'll make the announcement. And me and Mark, the bass player, we looked around, and we're like, there's nobody in here.
And there's nobody to hear the announcement.
And there's nobody in here that looks like they're fans of us. There are a few people in here, but there's nobody. So I told the store manager, I was like, well, we'll go sit down in a minute. David goes and sits at the table, and he's all these CDs and a Sharpie or whatever. And so I'll walk up to the manager. I'm like, hey, can you go ahead and make the announcement, but just say, ladies and gentlemen, David Lynam of the band Lynam will now be signing autographs. And so he's sitting by himself, and me and Mark are nowhere around. And the store manager goes, good afternoon, Best Buy. Now, David Lynam from the band Lynam was now signing autographs. And like he's just sitting there with this big pile of CDs. And I see some guy walk over to where the CDs are.
And doesn't get a signature. He just walks by
the CD, where the table was, it was right by, like here are the chairs. Here's the table. And right behind us is the W section. And I see a guy walk up to David and do like this. And he goes, hey, man, I'm trying to get that Weezer CD. Makes him move from the table. Makes him move so he can grab the CD.
Oh, that's amazing. How'd that feel? You were just like...
Very humbling.
Yeah, it should, yeah.
I mean, we were excited. I mean, we were on a huge tour, too. Like, every date except
sold
for
out.
Phoenix sold out.
That's crazy.
The whole tour, 50-something
I knew, like, I knew for sure, like, I think... When did Halfway to Hell come out? It was like 2012, 2013?
Halfway to Hell, 2013.
So,
that was just the EP too.
Y'all played a show, and what was the member that you guys had another member?
Yeah, we had Lonnie playing with
Lonnie.
us too. Yeah,
he was a super
LA.
nice guy.
Yeah,
and but I knew, I was like, because I heard some of those tracks, like, man, these fucking guys are about to just be gone. Like, as far as like they're fixing to blow up, like not going to be able to see them at Tipsy Teas or wherever, anymore. And because, dude, like the you guys always had the showdown. You always had the songs, like the albums were just bangers. They were amazing, hooky, big choruses. I'm a fan of like gang vocals in the choruses, you know.
Then you'd love our band.
I know,
you know? Like our band.
But yeah, but you know, success is measured in different ways, right? I mean, it really is. So it's just like you guys had a lot of freaking success in Lynam, a lot of success.
But looking back now, it's like we're so grateful, you know, and you know, we do realize that we, like he was saying earlier, it's like we wanted to be the big arena band, like headlining it and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like we did achieve a whole lot, and we have a lot to be grateful for. Yeah. So much of it I've learned in life is gratitude. I'm one of those people that I really do believe that you put, like what you put out there, you get back and everything. And when we were showing gratitude and had gratitude and everything else, like everything was great. Our numbers were through the roof. Like we would walk, we'd go play clubs. We'd headline clubs. Over 1,000 people would come through or whatever. And everything was good. As soon as we stopped showing gratitude and once we started complaining all the time, like numbers went down, things went away because we just like, we got to the point where we were just complaining all the time about everything.
Yeah. Negative kind of, I guess.
We were.
You probably placed all these expectations on yourself.
Yeah, we did.
You know,
and we fell short of the ones we set. We accomplished some and didn't accomplish other, and we would laser focus on non-accomplished. We saw a taste of freedom. We toured with these bands. We saw how they did things. We always had conversations of, if we made it that big, we'd do this different. Yeah. And we would seize the moment better than they have and do this differently and do this. So when we get this moment, we're going to really make things, you know, we're going to put tickets on sale a year in advance. We're going to let the money sit in account for years. And whether the tour ever happens or not, we've got interest on the. We used to always have conversations about how we're going to do things when we got really big, and really big meaning, you know, something we never really got. We didn't get really big, but we did get to go out there, and we got a taste of of success. We got to see.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of people, though, man, is going to correct you on that. Like a lot of people, and a lot of other bands, a lot of fans are, you know. Like I said, I get what you're saying, but like you did make it. Like you see what I'm saying? So it isn't like it was like the.
Yeah, I see. I mean, like Jacob said, I see that in hindsight now. I do feel that we made it. We didn't accomplish all of our goals, but
our goals,
you know, we had some crazy goals. You know, maybe we should have reeled them in a little bit more than we did. You know,
I don't know. I always thought I admired too. You know, I was a douchebag kid from. Poor kid from
not as big as me, buddy,
in Alabama.
I was a shit,
and you know,
still are.
Yeah. He's still a douchebag.
Some things never change.
Nobody argued, huh?
I mean, who else has a cutout of themselves
right behind them? I got to say that hairstyle I liked a little bit better up there.
Nathan Queen had that name.
Yeah, he looks like Richard Simmons with anorexia in that cutout. Right
well, I tell you, our success did get us to the level where he got to like go play with Steven Adler and stuff like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It opens doors.
It opened enough doors for us to carve out a career that you know, he has a great career, and so do I now.
I don't know if you will tell this story, but my favorite story is the Rock of Ages.
Oh yeah. About how me and him thought we were like,
how y'all were going to break the news?
We are going to get this because we all auditioned for it. You know, we were like, Mark, how are we going to tell Mark he's not going to get this? You know, Mark, you're a little bit too stiff on stage. You're not going to get this movie, and we probably are. And like, how are we going to break it to them? And then they send back. We all submitted videos, and they come back with Mark. They pick Mark, and we're like, oh, okay, well, we'll be up here if you need us.
The first time you told me that story, I lost it, man. Because you're like, man,
it's the way David tells it too. Like, I just see you sitting there going, man, how in the hell are we going to tell him about it?
Yeah,
and then you get to there, you're like,
we really thought we were going to be picked, and he wasn't. And that's just like exactly what we deserve. Like exactly. And not that other big things didn't have. I mean, he's had the lion's share of the success of everybody, but
I don't want him to go into be a. You know, I know Jacob Bunton. He doesn't want to name drop, but he works with a lot of big names.
Jacob's got like that. he goes on the list of people he's worked with, and it just says etc.
Yeah,
He's got so many people he's worked with.
The artists are like, I'm in Jacob's etc. list.
So who's the most humbling, or who's the coolest person you've ever worked with?
David Lynam.
I've worked with a lot of really cool people.
Go ahead, tell it. Say it. I'll lift my feet up. You can tell them.
All right, David Lynam. No, like to me, it's like, obviously I've worked with a lot of like pop legends and stuff like that. But to me, growing up, my two favorite bands, like I said, rock bands, were Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses. So it's like, doing the Adler record, when you've got Steven on drums, you've got Slash playing guitar, and it's that's real humbling. That's like, wow, that's insane. And then same thing, with Mick Mars with Motley Crue.
Yeah.
It's like, with Mick, he was super, super secretive about doing the record and everything, and wouldn't allow anybody to come to the studio or whatever. Only one person ever got to come to the studio outside the band, and it was David. I talked him into it. I was like, David's my best friend. He's like my brother. Can he please come? And he was in a good mood that day, and Mick is the sweetest guy in the world. And he was like, all right, he can come. And so David got to come, and when I was tracking vocals.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And I got to meet the producer too, Michael Wagner. Which
wow.
He's done like so many cool things. I was just looking on his walls going, I didn't know about who you were until I see all these albums.
Did you guys ever, I mean, you had to have, this goes out to both of y'all, like that shit your pants moment when, you're on stage, like, so with you with the Adler record, even like you're on stage and you look both ways, and all these people that you grew up just idolizing as a kid, cutting your teeth, wanting to be that guy, and you're on stage with those people. How does that feel, man?
I think the biggest moment for probably me and David both, like as far as that stuff goes, is like in Japan. It's like we're on stage, and David's sitting right behind Steven, and over to the right's Duff McKagan on bass. Wow. And we're like going, like, this is crazy.
When we got out of the venue, at the venue to run inside, there were these Japanese girls holding Lynam records in their hands.
See, that's so cool.
And they didn't even see me there. He pointed and said, look right here, and pointed on the cover and pointed.
And they're like,
And they were having to sign stuff. And like, we're across the world. That blew.
Dude, you should, I'm sure you'll remember that for the rest of your life. That's huge.
I remember Jacob in the studio the day that Slash came in and did solos. And he's like, man, we just chopped it up forever. And you know what I realized? I just came to the conclusion, he's just like me and you, dude. He's just like me and you. And then he walked outside and got in a helicopter and flew off. And that's what
just
I realized.
like
Not very much like David and I. It's like, in the ballpark, maybe, personality-wise.
I seen a video, and I only seen part of it. What happened with the Gene Simmons guy on stage? It says fat fake Gene Simmons.
Oh,
that was
very
the Kiss tribute band.
We Mark was off shooting the movie Rock of Ages, and so we had to get replacements, and we decided to get Barry, James's brother, and then we thought, man, if we're gonna get Barry, it would sound really thicker if we just got two guitarists. So let's get James too, and so we got them to come out there and do a run of shows with us. And on the way to Rocklahoma was this Iowa Rock Fest. It was this Small Potatoes like music festival. And Slaughter had been there the night before, and we talked to the Slaughter guys, and they were like, it went great. We got paid. It was, it was small, but it was a good venue. We get there. As soon as we pull up, there's a Kiss tribute in a mobile home there, or an RV. And we get out and we're like, oh, y'all are on the bill tonight? And they're like, yeah, we are. And
we're like, headlining.
We're headlining. And we're like cool, man.
They made that perfectly clear.
Right out of, we didn't even get to shake their hands. They said, we're headlining tonight. And we're like, okay, well, we're excited because we love Kiss and we can't wait to watch y'all. And they go, well, don't get any wild ideas. We're headlining, okay? And we're like, that's fine. And we didn't even tell them that they had told us we're headlining.
Even on the schedule.
Even on the schedule, it has us playing last. But they wanted the headline. So we said, Absolutely. We're like, ooh, Kiss with a little bit of sass. This is going to be fucking great. Man. We can't wait. We're excited. We thought this was just going to be some rinky-dink festival with a bunch of local bands and us.
Yeah.
So we have something to look forward to all day. And we already know they're rude, but it doesn't bother us. We've ran into rude bands before. But it's no big deal. So all the bands are playing. By the way, no supervision on this stage. No stage manager to clock local bands. You know, 30 minutes and you're off, guys. You know, none of that. It's you got 30 minutes and then they leave. And the local bands, if you don't reel them in, they'll play till midnight. Yeah. So the stage was way off time. It's like 8 o'clock at night, and all the local bands have finally quit. It's just us and Kiss Mania. And so we throw our stuff up on stage. We're always the band that will catch your festival back up on time. We're not trying to play Bruce Springsteen 2.5 hours. We'll get up there and we'll catch it up. We'll do a 30-minute set banger and we're out. We get up there and get ready to play, and they're about to drop house lights. I can hear the radios. Here we go. We're about to start. And then I see this fat Gene Simmons walk out on stage, and he's like, and I'm thinking, holy shit, we got Gene Simmons is going to bring us out on stage. And we're all looking at each other. We're like, fuck, this is going to be awesome, dude. We can't wait. And he raises his arms, his bat wings, and the crowd goes, yeah. And he turns around and he goes, get your fucking shit off the stage right now or I'm going to start throwing it off. And you can see in the video, it's on YouTube. You can pull up Iowa Rock Fest.
See, that's the video I watched.
ROCFEST. Iowa Rock Fest. You see me go from a smile to, what'd you say, bro? He goes, I said we're headlining, and we told you the second we shook hands with you today that we're headlining, and if you don't get your shit off stage right by this time, our security guys and everybody's walking up on stage going, what's going on? He goes, we're gonna throw your shit off the stage.
And we're like, you said that you guys wanted to headline.
Yeah, we couldn't.
We are headlining right now.
He goes, we're headlining right now. We're going, oh, we're from Alabama, man. We must be stupid because headlining in Alabama means
you play last.
Who's yelling at him in the video? Is it Peanut yelling at him?
You see Peanut in his face. He starts talking about slinging equipment, that's when they walked up and said, hey, my man, unless you got good health insurance, I would not be touching any of this equipment because these guys, the guys we had out on the road with us, they did not care. They would have gone to prison for the rest of their life over a stupid festival show. Yeah. No bones about it. No big deal.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. So that now, I mean, dude, this is Barry and James' first show with us. And we're like, man, we have fun on the road. It's really big time. We're a big time band. And they're seeing this little rinky-dink trailer out in the middle of a pasture in Iowa. And they're seeing this guy pick a fight with us. And they're like, is this what y'all are about? Like, I can just see it in their eyes. Oh, we thought y'all were a bigger band than this. We didn't know y'all pick fights with tribute bands. And we're like, dude, I'm sorry. I was trying eventually all of our handlers start taking care of the situation. And I'm just talking to them.
So here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Interrupted by fat, fake Gene Simmons.
That's what he's telling me right now. He's like, get your fucking shit and get it off this stage right now. I was so excited, dude. Peanuts on stage. The music that's playing is so ominous and hilarious. What's going on, you know? I was like, you're a fat piece of shit, you know that? Like, I'm going back and forth with John at the guy.
Look at
He's like, what you gonna do? And I was like, man, if I get out from behind this drum kit. Look at Barry putting down his guitar. Well, we're obviously not playing a show, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off.
Because the God of Thunder said so.
There's Debo on the stage. Now, he's the son of a bitch that would kill somebody. Just soon look at him. He's waiting for that guy to make a move. He's right there going, man, brother, I will crack that skull. You better not.
What are we doing right now? We're in the direct support.
What are we doing right now?
Direct support.
Now some Avenged Sevenfold comes on. Here's the guy that runs the festival right there in the hat.
With a fanny pack?
He's like, now what's going on here? He don't know what to do, by the way. He has no idea how to remedy this situation.
But he was an awesome dude. He always gave us a lot of money to come play that.
Yeah. All right, so pause it for a second. So
I don't want to get
at this point
get a copyright strike on the on this.
Oh yeah. At this point, I've quit talking to the guy, and I let all the handlers taking care of it. They decide. The owner of the festival comes up to me and goes, "Listen, man, what do you want to do?" I was like, "It's what do you want to do? It's your festival.
Yeah.
You're paying us. We drove this far to come here. You can pay us and we can play." And you can tell this guy to suck it, or if he's going to be unreasonable, we'll just pack up our stuff. We don't have to play. We're not that band. Like a lot of bands would be like, we drove from Birmingham. By God, we're going to play. We're not those guys. If it will make your festival run smoother, the 4 or 5 people in the crowd that maybe want to see us, or we'll just pack up and leave. And he goes, let me go talk to him. And he went and talked to him. He came back. He goes, he can't be reasoned with, man. I guess if y'all don't mind, take down your stuff. We're like, that's fine. Okay. So I start unscrewing. As soon as I start unscrewing cymbals, you can hear people in the crowd going, boo, what's going on? He grabs the mic and I hear him with my back to the crowd. I hear him go, who do you want to see more? And I was like, oh no, now he's opening it up to the audience. Like, we've already made the decision, dude. We're tearing down. We're just going to be easygoing and get out of here. Who do you want to hear more? Lynam? And you hear like half the crowd going, yeah, or Kiss Mania. And the other half of the crowd's going, Kiss Mania. And so I was like, oh no, what is he doing? What is he doing? And so he goes back over to the Gene Simmons guy, and the Gene Simmons is sitting over there in the corner, and they're yelling back and forth. He goes, I guess they can play for 30 minutes. I guess. I mean, I'm getting eaten alive over here in the media. I'm getting eaten alive. And I was like, media? When he said media, I was like, we're out. There's barely running water out here, brother. What are you talking about, media? And he said, just let them play 30 minutes and get fuck out of here. And so we played our 30 minutes. And instead of sitting around and watching their show, which we wanted to do, we were like, let's just get out of here, man. I'm afraid if we wait to them to finish their show, there's gonna be like a fist fight, and it ain't gonna fare well because we've got white trash people from Birmingham that crack skulls, you don't smell
Alabama boys.
They've been looking for a reason the whole tour to like beat somebody to pieces, and this guy's giving them every reason to. I was like, let's just get out of here. So we packed our bus up and took off to Rock.
Debo is one of those people. Dude, does not care.
Doesn't give a shit.
Me and Debo have a mutual friend, actually.
Yeah.
And
y'all are car nuts, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So you need to bring him on sometime.
He's a character, man.
We'll get him on.
Awesome.
He makes you sound like you're from Canada, dude. He sounds like he just climbed off his cousin every time he talks.
Well, let's wrap it up, man. So listen,
Jacob's got something to plug. What do you got to plug?
What do you got?
Got that new Mick Mars album coming out.
Yeah.
I just heard 2 of the songs on the way here.
Yeah, it's coming out next year, so looking forward to that.
That's cool.
2023.
That's cool, man. You just making waves, ain't you, brother?
Man,
good for you, man.
Just out there hustling like yourself. No.
There you go. You got to, baby. Hey, it's about the poor kids, man. You don't ever want to be back that way again, right?
Yeah.
So
that's right.
You know how it is. Well, listen. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thank you, Jacob, for being here, man. Had a blast. Had a blast. So, like, subscribe, hit that like button. Go check out Jacob's new album coming out next year with Mick Mars. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.